You know the exact moment. You're sitting in the car after a dinner date, or maybe lying in bed back to back. The silence isn't peaceful. It's heavy. He's staring straight ahead, gripping the steering wheel just a little too tight, or scrolling on his phone with a rigid jaw. And suddenly, you feel completely alone, even though he's right there. Your mind starts racing. Why does this keep happening? Are we just roommates now? Do I still love him, or have I just gotten used to him? Am I the problem? Here is the bold truth mainstream culture won't tell you. You don't drift apart because the love fades. You drift apart because his nervous system stopped feeling safe enough to be vulnerable with you. Honestly, you are not failing at love. This is not a sign that you chose the wrong person. Every couple that has ever loved each other has stood exactly where you're standing right now. By the end of this video, you will understand the unspoken emotional needs driving his behavior, and you will know exactly how to create a connection that feels effortless and secure again. Let's get into it. Most couples believe that when a man pulls away, gets quiet, or seems emotionally withdrawn, it means he doesn't care anymore, or that he is losing interest. But the real truth is, when safety leaves a relationship, the love doesn't disappear. It goes underground. Your partner's nervous system is reading the emotional temperature of the room before his mind can even catch up. Think of it like this. His nervous system in a conflict is like a smoke detector. It cannot tell the difference between your partner raising their voice and actual danger, so it sounds the alarm regardless. What looks like stonewalling is usually a man who has been so overwhelmed by the fear of failing you or the fear of conflict that silence is the only protection he has left. When you try harder to fix it by pushing for answers, his walls only go up higher. This isn't incompatibility. It is the anxious avoidance cycle playing out between two people who both actually want the exact same thing. It's not about louder conversations, not more compromising, not scheduling a forced weekly check-in, but two people who actually feel safe enough to be honest with each other for the first time in years. The first thing he secretly wants is the sanctuary of quiet acceptance. Most couples fall into the trap of thinking every problem needs an immediate solution, turning every vent session into a debate. Beneath the surface, his nervous system is craving a space where he doesn't have to perform or defend himself. He feels a deep, unspoken longing just to be heard without being judged. When you just listen, something in him is quietly saying, "She doesn't need me to fix this. She just needs me to stay." Instead of the disconnecting version where you say, "Well, if you just did X, this wouldn't happen," try the connecting version. "That sounds incredibly frustrating. I'm right here with you." And when you do that, the walls between you start to come down without either of you having to say a word. The second thing he craves is the power of feeling competent. Most people in relationships accidentally strip away their partner's sense of capability through subtle, well-intentioned micromanagement. And this is the one most couples never figure out. For a man, feeling useful is deeply tied to his emotional security. But here's what nobody explains. When he feels like his efforts are constantly corrected, his brain quietly registers, "Nothing I do is ever good enough," and he naturally withdraws to avoid the shame of failing you. So instead of pulling away and saying, "Let me just do it, you're taking too long," try saying, "I really appreciate how you handled that. It made my day so much easier." That's the shift that turns a relationship that feels like a negotiation into one that feels like a refuge. Then there is touch as a language of safety. Most couples mistakenly believe that physical intimacy is only about sex or grand romantic gestures. But intimacy isn't built in the big moments. It's built in the 30-second ones. His nervous system reads a gentle hand on the back or a lingering hug as a direct signal of safety and belonging, completely separate from sexual expectation. When you initiate touch with zero agenda, what's moving through him is, "I forgot how good it feels to be chosen." Rather than pulling away when he leans in, or only initiating touch when you want something, try just resting your hand on his arm while you watch TV, with absolutely no expectation attached. That's when your partner stops feeling like a problem to manage. and starts feeling like a person to come home to. This brings us to the craving for deep respect. Most couples confuse respect with total agreement, thinking that if he loves you, he should always see things your way. Here's the part no one talks about. A man can love you fiercely and still disagree with you. What he secretly wants is to know that even in disagreement, you still see him as a capable, valuable partner. He needs to know his perspective holds weight, even when you don't align. Instead of hitting him with, "You're being completely irrational right now," try the connecting approach. "I see where you're coming from, even if I see it differently. Let's figure this out together." And here's what changes everything. When respect is present, conflict stops feeling like a threat and starts feeling like teamwork. Finally, there is the gift of low-pressure presence. Most people in relationships demand emotional availability on demand, forcing deep conversations when the timing is all wrong. Emotional distance in a relationship isn't like a wall. It's like scar tissue that forms slowly over 100 small moments that never got repaired. He wants to turn toward you, but he needs to know the emotional environment is safe, not an interrogation room. This isn't a communication hack. This is just what two emotionally mature people naturally do to protect their bond. Instead of ambushing him with, "We need to talk about us right now," try saying, "I've been thinking about us. Whenever you're ready, I'd love to hear your thoughts." And when you create that low-pressure space, the patterns of defensiveness dissolve, making room for real, lasting repair. This isn't a checklist. It's an invitation to show up differently. And that changes everything about what's possible between you and the person you chose. When you internalize this, you stop reacting and start responding. Your partner will feel the difference in your presence before you've even said a single word. These aren't tips for a better relationship. They're the beginning of becoming the kind of partner you always wanted someone to be for you. Real intimacy doesn't start when you find the perfect person. It starts when you decide to become the safe space they can finally come home to.